Next match we had here was the big clusterfuck, which actually had an incident happen. We'll get there when we get there. It's the Reach for the Sky, boys. Ladder match, vacant Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships. Because at this point, obviously, have we seen, as we mentioned, that Mark Briscoe is either singles or in multi-man, but not like, he's not going to get a new partner. So he has been seen walking around showing off both tag team belts. So we got this big ladder match to determine who will be the new tag teams, because obviously we can't have him just, carrying the belts around, and you already know the tragic reason why. So we got Top Flight, which is Dante Martin and Darius Martin. We got The Kingdom, Matt Taven and Mike Bennett, with Maria Kanellis looking hot and just being there, just to be there. Aussie Open with Mark Davis and Kyle Fletcher. The Lucha Bros, Cero Miedo with Penta El Cero Miedo and Ray Phoenix, with Alex Abrahantes just there to be there. And La Función Ingobernable with Rush and Realistico, with Jose El Assistant just also being there just to be there. So it was one big clusterfuck, lots of ladders, lots of flippy shit, ladders on top of ladders, people getting, piled on ladders, getting moves done through ladders, and all kinds of good stuff. I think one of you guys can go into more detail about what happened to one of the particulars during the match. And yeah, I don't know. I didn't think much when I actually saw it. I mean, when I saw it happen, it is like, ooh, that's nasty. But, I didn't know he was actually legit injured. But you guys can tell me about that.
Well, I saw the actual angle from a person who was there. So because I was like, what happened? I saw him get injured, but I didn't see the details of the injury. Okay, so to set it up, basically, Dante Martin and Pentagon were at the top of the ladder, and outside of the ring were one table stacked on top of another table. And Penta did the whole miro, whatever.
Hey, respect the biceps. Respect the biceps, bro.
He set it up to do the Destroyer. And when he did it, I think he overshot it. But they were on top of the ladder. He rather than hitting the middle of the tables, they hit like the core, like instead of straight in the middle, they were kind of like off to the edge here. So when Dante landed through the first table, his leg was sticking downward and the other one was straight. So when they went to the second table, his leg had completely twisted backwards. So his leg went completely the opposite way.
Oh.
Yeah, so his leg went from facing that way to facing that way.
Without the replay of that, honestly, when I saw him them do the move, I thought it was going to be like a bad neck injury. I'm pretty sure I reacted to how the move went. I was like, that's so dangerous. But I didn't notice the leg and stuff until like after the fact.
Yeah. So was it kind of like Yamcha with Tenshin Han busting his leg and it going in an unnatural direction?
Oh God!
I remember. Someone said it was the second worst injury that they'd seen in a wrestling ring, second only to Sid Vicious's. But I would argue also Sabu's with the muscle. But
I was going to compare that with the Seth Rollins one when he did that like in one of those shows and he broke his leg in an awkward position too.
Yeah, this one was slightly worse. Yeah. This one was slightly worse because when a leg goes that way or that way, it's a minor surgery, but when it's like that's a whole. The fucked up thing is, I'm gonna flat out say, Top Flight's done. His style of wrestling, he's never gonna be able to wrestle like that again. I mean, like 99%.
I mean, Darius.
No, I'm saying them as a tag
Dante,
team.
yeah,
it's done. There's no way he's gonna be able to wrestle the way he did before. 99% of his moveset was, let me get on the ropes, the rebound flips. I'm like, yeah, that ain't happening anymore, buddy. Gonna have to change that shit. But anyway, what was the thing that was like weird was that they never mentioned it. Did you notice that? Like they never mentioned it on air or even after. Like
now,
I thought they would
because all the flippy shit going on.
No. I mean, like I thought they would at least mention it later on in the show or after the show, but they never did.
Now, I lost track because with so many bodies and stuff, but like, did they just like carry him out? Because I forgot that happened more like near the end of the match or middle of the match or whatever.
It was near the end of the match.
Oh, okay.
But the thing is that in the footage, like from what I've seen, because I know about this because now everybody's talking about it. I guess that's what's trending right now. But the actual match, like when you're watching the pay-per-view, you notice that even without knowing the full detail, like how bad the injury is, it still looked like, oh shit, he got hit really bad in the knee.
Mm-hmm.
And the camera decided to, oh shit, the show must
keep going. Like, oh.
Yeah.
So it's like totally censored. They censored.
Yeah, they really did. But I just thought that my thing was I knew they weren't going to show it, obviously. My one thing that was like boggling me was like, why did the commentary not even mention he got injured? Like that was weird to me because usually when a wrestler gets injured during a show, they say, oh, well, we've had a minor incident with Dante Martin and we'll be sure to keep you updated on his health. Something. But they didn't even say that. I was like, oh, okay. But anyway, yeah.
It was weird.
It was weird.
Pretty badly injured, you would still see the cameras. The referees would still be doing that thing that you said, hey, are you okay or whatever. Like, you would see that in the footage. Like,
yeah.
Well, yeah, but that's more when it's like, part of the show. But when he's
it's all fake.
Real and that wasn't scripted.
It's all fake. It's all fake. No, I'm just kidding.
His leg is fine. All he had to do is just...
No, well, you know what I mean. When the guy's supposed to be injured, they go there. But when it's for real,
How much of a twist would it be if it was a prosthetic this whole time? Like, holy shit.
That's a good prosthetic to
be
flipping
God, yeah.
Yeah, you see what I mean? Yeah, his ankle, his ankle and from his knee down went backwards. So like the ankle, if it was just his ankle, he could probably recover. But he must have ripped tendons in order for that to happen. So, yeah.
This is an injury in a nutshell. Let me recreate like oh, I got beat up. Oh!
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm trying to press
itself.
Never mind.
So, anyways, as for the match itself, it kept going, and the official winners and new Ring of Honor Tag Team Champs are the Lucha Bros, and of course, Mark Briscoe came out to celebrate with them, and they all held their hands up, lots of respect and everything, handshakes, all the good things, and it was pretty awesome. And it was pretty cool. We actually had a match of the Lucha Bros teaming up with Briscoe yesterday on Ring of Honor, so it was pretty cool to see that and everything. But
I thought it was going to come down to, I thought honestly the winners were going to be more than likely the Kingdom, because like they were the last team before FTR that they fought. So I was like, okay, it would make sense for the Kingdom because they're not really doing anything with them. But I like I said, I'm cool with Lucha Bros winning. But overall, I thought other than the whole incident, I thought it was an okay match. It was all right. It was just a kind of like, you've seen enough ladder matches to kind of get an idea of where things are going.
All right.
Overall, it wasn't really that bad of a... Oh, hold on. Overall, it really wasn't that bad of a match. Minus the incident. Again, the camera guys did some good censoring on it. I didn't find out until like way later that happened. But otherwise, it was still a pretty good match. Pretty solid. I mean, it was a lot of fun. Not for Dante, but it was still a lot of fun. I wish him the best. I hope everything gets better for him. But the quote the words of Ron Simmons, damn.
It reminded me a little bit of this happened back when Rollins was still like a heel, authority stooge and all that. Everyone really hated him. When he had that leg injury, there were people, I forgot which, I don't think it was Twitter, but somewhere they were wishing him either dead or permanently injured. I'm like, dude, I know he's a heel, but that's the character he's playing. You know what I mean? I personally can't stand the character he portrays on TV, but don't wish ill to the actual dude. Like, the fuck is your problem? You know what I mean? So,
yeah, it's like me with Moxley. I mean, I want him to go drown in a lake, but I don't want him to literally drown in a lake with electricity and electric eel.
Well, I don't like Moxley as an individual or a wrestler, but I don't want him to be harmed.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind if like his tires got slashed. I wouldn't care, but but no, this reminds me of this injury legitimately, and this is why it's so kind of weird. It reminds me of, I don't know if you remember, about like a year ago, there was a match. It was a tag team match. It was actually, I think it was when the Lucha Bros won the AAA or the AEW tag titles. Remember, there was that table spot. It was that table spot where what's his name? Ray Phoenix was on the table, and someone, I can't remember who he was fighting. Someone dove off, and he
broke his arm,
and he had his arm hanging out the side, and it went that way. Yeah. And I'm like, so now my thought is, that happened with Ray Phoenix. This happened with Pentagon. Keep the Lucha Brothers the fuck away from tables. Okay, just keep them away from tables. For some reason, they got the Dudley curse. I don't know.
Like, Lucha Bros with tables are literally going to cost you an arm and a leg.
Literally.
Well, that's what happens at work, Elric. So anyways.
My opinion on the match. Okay, see, matches like these are the kind of matches where, for one thing, it's interesting that they do ladder matches or whatever, and I think they should be reserved for pay-per-views, because personally I think table and ladder matches, unlike back in the day, they're overly done now. So you got to keep, trying to, build everything up to try to make it more interesting, have more crazy spots and all this other crazy nonsense. And this is what this match was to me. It was just too crazy for me. And like I said, when it's too many teams going, say, okay, who's legal? What's the stipulation again? I don't remember. It's like, because there's just so much going on, so I can't remember much of anything except mainly for Dante's injury. And even then, because of the way they did it, the way he landed, like I said, I thought he hurt his neck or something because of the way the ref was acting around him, because it didn't feel like part of the show to me. It felt off. And then the fact that they didn't show him again, it just made me wonder, like, so why hasn't he popped back up in the ring or something like that, right? So, yeah, that's the main thing. Oh, how your leg, by the way, William? How's that leg of yours?
It's a lot better now. Just a couple of yoga stretches I was doing. I'll be okay.
All right, there you go.
I told you, man,
right.
the Dalsim course is the more advanced course of yoga, not for beginners. You have to work your way up, man.
Oh, yeah.
I do have a question, though. Because, like I said, I think by the time that this match will come around, because, like, to quote a certain someone with glasses, it's just flippy video game shit. So, like I said, it was just too much going on for me. But, yeah, see, these kind of matches, when it's too much, it's just too much for me. But my question to you, Mark, is, because I don't remember, weren't you trying to keep me awake during this one?
I think so.
Yeah, because I think it was like, Wendy, don't fall asleep on me now. I was like, okay. And I had to sit up and like, okay, I'm awake. And then that's when things got really crazy, and that woke me up. And then the Dante thing, that really woke me up. But I do hope he gets better. I hope they fix his leg and all the places that are broken or ripped or torn or whatever. Like, oh.
Now, for this match... Yeah, well, for this one, I got to say for everyone here, William actually won this one because he was the only one that went for the Lucha Bros. I went for Aussie Open, and both Johnny and Wendy, y'all went for the La Facción Ingobernable.
Yeah,
I forgot. I was looking, I was saying, I thought we all lost, but no, William actually went for the Lucha Bros, so holy crap.
To be fair, I always bet on the Aussie Open because I think that they're one of the best tag teams period. I really do think that they are the best tag team on the planet, legitimately, in my mind right now. But they don't get the recognition or appreciation that they deserve. But that's my opinion.
Oh, one more thing about this kind of match and the way the spots were. I think this is kind of a little bit of an issue I have with these kind of matches. I think the problem is there are too much half-line stuff is pretty cool looking, but you don't want the wrestlers to like cut their career short because they constantly do the half-line stuff. I think they should try to find other ways to put on their matches instead of these really, really dangerous spots.
It's like looking at you, Sammy. Looking at you, Darby.
Oh my
Definitely
gosh,
Darby.
yes, Darby especially. Oh my gosh. I mean, if he has a spine left after his career, I would be shocked, in all honesty. But I really think they should, like, just chill out a little bit, do other things. You guys y'all guys professionals, put on the show, think of other moves, produce some other spots, make them a little safer. We want you to stick around for a while,
I remember Sammy once said, like, if it happens, it happens. Like, he's not gonna slow down. So that's Sammy. But with Darby, I worry because he's so thin, though. He doesn't really have that much protecting his spine. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, but just one rule to remember in these type of matches, if you want to know who wins, just always go for the heel.
Okay, Dante.
Well, I will say this: the ladders and the chairs, they sold it very well.
Yeah.
Oh, Johnny, how about you?
Yeah, so for this match, I mean, I actually agree with your comment, Wendy. I think that AEW, that they've been having a couple of these really risky matches, and wrestlers are getting really injured really bad, and this keeps happening like a lot. So they need to think of, hey, like, you should tone it down a little bit or make it more safer or whatever the case is, because it makes it look like, damn, like, is it even worth, like, I don't know, wrestling in the AEW, you're going to get injured like that all the time? I mean, of course, Dante's injury, that's probably like the worst injury to date, in the most recent version of these matches. But, yeah, I don't know, man. It's just kind of a little crazy in that aspect. Now, I do have to say the match itself is very fun. It's very entertaining. There's so many wrestlers here. You kind of lose track, because you have all these people. I remember in a match that even Jose and what's his name, Abrahantes, like they were both duking it out outside the ring. That was kind of funny. I don't know if you guys remember that one.
Yeah, I like when little manager guys kind of get involved too and everything.
Yeah, okay. I had to think about it for a second because I kind of forgot. Like I said, for me, most of the stuff with Dante has totally overshadowed everything else that I saw. I mean, so.
What I do like about this match is that all these wrestlers, they're really good, and it's kind of like it didn't really matter that much in a certain way who won the match, because in my eyes, they were all really good wrestlers. It's like, who cares? Like, whoever climbs up the ladder and gets the, what's it?
The belts.
Belts.
Yeah, it's good. It's more than good enough. But I am glad that the Lucha Brothers did won the match, anyways. So,
Hey, Johnny, since we're the bros, let's do it. Cero miedo. There we go.
so like this and then this.
Yeah. So 1, 2, 3. Hold on. Cero miedo. There we go. Okay. So anyways, guys, yeah, when you will be seeing a whole lot of that soon. So anyways,
Yep.
the next, that was so awesome. I gotta say, one of the dark matches, we were there. The Lucha Bros were wrestling, And I think it was one of those matches that had multiple tag teams, or it was kind of like a 4-man double tag team. So they didn't have as much time to do their shenanigans because, you have to kind of give everyone time. But at least for the finisher, all of us got to chant the whole "Cero Miedo" as he did like his finisher on defeating. And that is awesome. So anyways, next match we had here, like I said, for this one, William was the only one to go for the Lucha Bros, so he got the point. This one is Wheeler Yuta defending the Pure Wrestling title, Pure Wrestling Championship, Ring of Honor Pure Championship against Kazuyoshi Shibata, and it was a pretty intense match. Wheeler was, of course, being a douche because now they're starting to go more into heel territory. He's doing the old ball kicker thing when the ref isn't watching and stuff like that. And I want to remember, I don't know if it was either this match or another match. Wasn't there a match where, I forgot if it was this one, or you can remind me if you all remember. Wasn't there one where Wheeler Yuta, you know how the rules are, you can only smack someone in the face, punch in the face directly only once without being disqualified? Didn't he like sock him in the face while the ref wasn't looking? So I didn't count. And then sock him again?
It was the two previous matches before he defended it. But yeah, it was the two previous matches. He tried doing it to Shibata the second time, but Shibata's like, hell no. You ain't fucking pulling that shit with me.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a pretty good match. Shibata won by a pinfall. And I was actually pretty surprised because I mean, the way I see it, and they're all, they're all skilled and stuff. I'm not saying anything about their skills, but usually when you get like Shibata and Tanahashi and Suzuki and all them, they're kind of like, I guess, the guest stars, so to speak. So for me, I was really surprised that Shibata won and now has a title to defend. So hopefully we'll be seeing more of him as he defends the title, at least every Ring of Honor pay-per-view or something like that. But that did surprise me. I was not expecting him to win for that reason. So that got me. But pretty good match, man.
I'll let Will go first.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you there, Mike. I was actually surprised that they let Shibata win. I mean, he's a damn good wrestler, but he's not fully affiliated with Ring of Honor. He's kind of a New Japan guy. So, having him pop up and then beat Wheeler Yuta and then have the title, it's a little strange. Still was a damn good match. You got my pinfall. It was a damn good. I wouldn't even say it was a match. It was more of a fight because they were beating the hell out of each other. Like, this wasn't even anything really too technical, like, to later on in the match. Then like, you kind of saw some holds. But for the first few minutes of the match, they were doing nothing more but beating the crap out of each other. It was a shoot fight. I fucking loved it.
Correction. Wheeler was trying to hurt Shibata. The problem is Shibata, there's a reason Shibata's nickname is just the wrestler. He is legitimately considered the GOAT of New Japan. He's the New Japan guy, and he's in charge of the New Japan dojo. So, I mean, he trains all the young talent. The fact that they gave him the fact that he won a title, again, that's beyond shocking to me but it's perfect. If there was ever a title to give him, it would be this belt because of the fact that it's under specific strict regulation rules, because he still has his years of trauma to his skull. This was the one match I was looking forward to more than any other match. And I was literally screaming at the top of my lungs when he won. I was so happy. I've loved Shibata. I have no qualm saying this. I cried when he retired because I was like, he was the greatest to have never won the top belt because of what happened with his injury and the headbutt heard around the world. For those of you that haven't seen it or don't know, he was in a World Heavyweight Championship fight with Kazuchika Okada. And the fight went on for about 40-something minutes, 45, 46 minutes. And the match, the header, the climax of the match, Shibata repeatedly straight headbutted Okada to the forehead. and his skull, from his skull, blood started trickling down. And Okada beat him. And after the match, he had to have emergency brain surgery backstage. So, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, he had to have emergency brain surgery. He had to have fragments of his skull from here to here replaced with metal. So the fact that he's even able to wrestle again is a miracle. And the fact that they gave him a title is even more of a miracle. So, but like I said, if you look at like some of the best hard hitters, like everyone has said, Shinsuke Nakamura, Hiroshi Tanahashi, Bryan Danielson, Kenta, Finn Balor, all the hard CM Punk, all of them have said the same thing. Even John Moxley said it. No one has ever hit as hard with their kicks as Shibata. No one hits as hard as Shibata. He literally goes straight full force. Even Suzuki's afraid of his kicks. That's how deadly his kicks are.
Damn.
Yeah.
One thing I want to say, go first, Win. Sorry.
It's rumored that his bones have been replaced with old Nokia phones. That's why he can hit as hard as he does.
There's a whole behind the scenes legend where they have a thing where they refer to as the golden handshake, which is like the handshake of the gods kind of wrestling. For Japan, it's like if your golden handshake is from Giant Baba, who owned All Japan Wrestling, or Antonio Inoki. That means that of all the wrestlers, he chose you to be the man. Inoki only shook 3 people's hands ever. It was Keiji Muto, Shibata, and Shinsuke Nakamura. That's it. No one else has he ever given the golden handshake to. So Shibata is like is considered like his golden boy. So it was like, that's why it was so heartbreaking. But he's now in charge of the LA dojo, and he literally loves wrestling so much. Like I guess he's a guest commentator on, there's this, I forgot her name. Oh, I want to subscribe to it, but there's this channel it's shows on Toho, like I think Tokyo something TV, and there's this woman who is like, she is, first of all, super cute, but she is like an encyclopedic knowledge of all wrestling. Like she knows more than she knows. Like she's like if Meltzer and Cornette and what's his name? Matt Stryker combined, but they took all of their brains, put them in a blender, and they made a cute little Japanese idol girl drink it. That's her. Like she has a commentary show where she just talks about wrestling, and she's like, in AEW news, in Ring of Honor news, in New Japan, All Japan, in Stardom, and I'm like, holy crap, how do you keep track of all this stuff?
Oh, man.
But anyway.
One thing I want to ask real quick is, because you would probably know more about it. Shinsuke Nakamura, I mean, I guess he's happy in WWE now, just kind of cruising along, but I kind of wish like he would have a final run before he retires or whatever somewhere else, even if it's AEW or elsewhere. I don't know, like how does he wrestle when he actually wrestles elsewhere and not like, sports entertaining? And he's actually said this too. He said a lot of wrestlers want to be like a specific wrestler. Like he said, I remember what's his name said he wants to be the Hulk Hogan of this generation, or someone said they wanted to be the Ric Flair of this generation. And he said, I want to be the Michael Jackson of wrestling. I want to be a rock star. I want to just go out there and entertain and do the best I can. And in New Japan, he is such a goddamn super mega star. Him and Tanahashi are little more side story. In Japan, there's this thing, and I think it applies to all wrestling. It's a term referred to as I forgot how to say it in Japanese, but it translates to forever rivals. But
it's where you take two phenomenal wrestlers who bring out the best in each other, and they're so much so that their careers are synced together. Think Rock Austin, Steamboat Flair, Hart, Michaels. Tanahashi is lucky because he has two forever rivals, and that is his number one is Shinsuke. But his number two is Okada. But Shinsuke and him are forever rivals. So their feuds have been like legendary. And I actually asked Tanahashi, it's funny enough, when I met him at WrestleCon, I said, what do you think of the chances of you ever fighting Shinsuke again? And he said, it's funny because his English is okay. It's pretty good. It's not bad. It's pretty good. And he goes, it's funny. I actually talked to him the other day, and he said he would be open to it, but he'd have to run it by Triple H first. But he didn't think Triple H would let him wrestle in Japan to fight Great Muta, and that happened. So it's possible. Maybe he could do a little run in New Japan. Who knows? But Shinsuke, as far as a wrestler in Unchained, I like to think of WWE as like when you look at WWE, it's like in anime when they're wearing the weighted clothes. They're like, yeah. And then when they're in Japan, they just go, like, and they go, like, I really do think like that. It really does feel like that. When you watch new American WWE and then you watch Japanese wrestling, it feels like, and then if you switch WWE, women's wrestling, and then those same women wrestlers in Stardom, and then you go back, it's like you're rewatching everything in Super Bowl slow-mo. It's so funny.
I'm seeing here Forever Rivals is a Hino rival. Unless
well, I could have told you that. I was just waiting for my turn.
Yeah. But there are wrestlers in Japan that that are considered forever rivals. Joe and Punk are forever rivals. Certain things like that, which I'm like, okay. But I'm hoping Shinsuke I would love for Shinsuke to have a run outside of Japan, but right now he and Asuka, they've done everything overseas. And I think they're just like, hey, it's an easy check. And I'm like, fair enough. When you're at that point in your career, do you really need to? It's just like Jay. Jay White did everything in New Japan. Shy of winning the tournaments, he's held every single belt. So it's like, other than the tag teams, but they don't count. Every singles belt. He's the first ever Grand Slam champion. He was the youngest to win all of those titles. So it's also like, why is he still here? Like, he's done everything, I mean, yeah, to lead Bullet Club, I guess, but that's, not really much to stay around. So I think it's kind of more of like a matter of if Shinsuke wants to come back to Japan, I'm pretty sure he could just, any organization in Japan would be like, please. It's kind of like if someone was like, if Hulk Hogan shows up to a wrestling event, any wrestling event, they're like, please, we'll pay you. Like, even if he doesn't wrestle, like, could you ring announce? And he'll be like, sure, brother.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, back to the match. I keep getting distracted. Shibata, I'm so happy Shibata won, and I'm so happy he's the pure champion. It's the perfect kind of title for him because that style is so restrictive to the ring. If anyone interferes in a pure match, they are fired. They are not. Oh, hold on. Hold that thought. Sorry, my phone went off. Okay. If anyone ever interferes, they're not like, oh, you're fired. It's part of the contract of the pure title. So it's kind of, I'm happy Shibata won, and I'm happy to see him as a champion after all these years.
Mm.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say that forever rival would be Ein no Raibaru. So, you're good. But I was eating. So, that's easy Japanese, and I love that kind of Japanese. It's like one of those first grade words. But anyway, yeah, for this match, even though, okay, this is the thing I was saying too with this one. I was saying, I thought that in my mind, I thought that between Yuta, and I still call him Cesaro's match. I just figured one of them were going to lose, one of them was going to win their match, one of them was going to lose their match. Since Shibata was kind of the new person on the block, I just figured that Yuta was going to retain and keep his title. Even though I had a feeling Yuta was going to win, oh my God, I love Shibata and I want to know more about him. I mean, I was cheering for him even though I thought Yuta was going to win. I mean, that's how much I was into it. I don't know, Mark's my witness.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like so into it. I said, oh my gosh, I love this dude. He's just got this little mysterious aura around him. Oh my
I was like,
God.
what the fuck, he won? I was surprised.
Uh-huh.
I was like, what the fuck, he won? Like, because I was expecting you to kick out or whatever, you know what I mean? But like,
Yeah. I just,
No one kicks out of his PK. No one kicks out of his penalty kick. That's one of those moves that when he hits it, it's like he. Someone used to say in Japanese that he, the commentary team, when he hits you with that PK, he's not hitting your body, he's hitting your soul. Like they used to say. I'm like, kinda, yeah.
Put him in a body bag.
No, but seriously, I loved it. It was great. And I want to see more with him. And also with what you mentioned about the head and the injury that they had, I don't know if the commentary team mentioned it for this match or the previous one he did on Thursday with Ring of Honor, where he kept his title. I was like, I have no problem with that because he just got it. But they mentioned it there because who was he going against on Thursday? I don't remember now.
I think I fell asleep during that one. It was a long
Yeah, I think you were asleep. Yeah, you were asleep. I was too busy, just too busy, like, in awe over Shibata. So I forgot who he was fighting. But the commentator team, they were pretty much saying that, that he said he's finally back after
Oh, it was against Christopher Daniels.
Ah, that's right. Okay. That he would come back after the injury and Daniels kept working his neck, his head and his neck and everything for that match. So they did mention it there, but they didn't go into like detail about it. And that's it. And the fact that it said that he's back and they were making a big deal out of it, I forgot to look it up myself to actually see, is this like, part of a storyline, or did he actually get a bad injury and he's back, sort of like Paige, Sasha Banks kind of knocked her neck out of commission and now she's back, or, some of the others that have been gone for years, or, like Edge or something,
Like Daniel Bryan and all them too.
Yeah.
I forgot who did injure Daniel Bryan.
Daniel Bryan.
Oh wait, what do you mean? When?
Remember how he couldn't wrestle for a couple of years because he thought he was injured for good and he had to get cleared and all that stuff?
Actually, I got some clarification about that because I was curious what happened with that.
Mhm.
So, who injured Daniel Bryan was Daniel Bryan was Daniel Bryan. So
see, I told you.
So
Daniel
no.
Bryan.
What happened was it was during a Raw. He fought Randy Orton, and I didn't know that's what happened. It was fighting Randy Orton, and he set him up for a shotgun drop kick, a top rope shotgun drop kick, and literally jumps off the top rope, hits Randy, and it's not the hit, it's how he landed. So he landed like bam, like back of his neck, like that. And like his head hit the full force. Now, I know enough about wrestling. When you dive like that, you're supposed to extend your back like this. So that way, when you land, your elbows kind of cushion the fall.
Yeah.
But he didn't do that.
Oh.
He landed like that and went, so his head went bam. And he was he couldn't get back up. And then like he told the ref, I can't feel my hands. And he was actually telling the ref. And then Randy was squeezing his ankle to see if he was okay. And he said, we got to end the match. That's what the ref said. We got to end the match. And then Brian was like, no, keep it going. And Randy's like, I don't really feel good about this. And then like he rolled out of the ring for the EMTs to check it. And then the ref went like that, and he went, and then they called the match, and Bryan Danielson was fucking pissed. Like, he's all like, first he was pissed off at Randy Orton thinking he did it, and then he was pissed off at the ref, like, I didn't want to fucking end the match like that. It's fucking bullshit. And I'm like, you did it. You did it to you. Like, shit. You know, Keiji Muto has a great saying he teaches people when he trains them. He said, the biggest injuries never, ever, ever come from the biggest moves. It's always the minor stuff, because that's the stuff you always overlook.
Mm.
He's right. I mean, look at the Dante Martin thing. It's just because he slightly had his legs sticking out. You look at the Bryan Danielson, he fell backwards. It's always the small stuff. It's always the little things. It's never like a guy doing 16 somersaults in the air. At most, you'll probably, you know.
Yeah.
I know. We all need to give
notice
Dante.
that they do land on their shoulders, even though the commentary tries to make it more like, oh my god, he was just dropped on his head. But
it's just like when they hit. It's little things you notice if you know enough about wrestling, like how when someone gets hit with a chair shot, it used to be like, oh, and then they realized, oh yeah, that causes head injuries. No shit, jackass. Getting hit in the head hurt head.
Yeah, that's why everyone made like a big to-do with the Shawn Spears bashing Cody on the head with the chair and everything.
Yeah, Scott Steiner had 14 doctorates before he got hit in the head and up. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Now he's like,
Rick didn't have any.
Anyway, but no, if you notice when someone gets hit with in the head with a chair shot, now they have their hands up.
Yep.
So they go, bam, like that. So like barely their head gets hit. So so it's really their hands getting hit. But it's little things like that. But back to what I was saying. I forgot what I was saying. Sorry. I'll stop.
Well, I think Johnny didn't go yet. Did he?
Mm-mm.
Well, not yet. So what I thought about this match is that this match is very long and very intense. I think it lasted like 20 minutes or something like that. It felt like it was going on forever. I don't know. Like it felt like a very long match in a certain way. And Wheeler Yuta is just getting more heel by the minute, and I was actually surprised he lost the match. But I do like the wrestler. I do like Shibata. He seems very good and extremely talented, and that'd be great if we would actually see him more like these pay-per-views. That would be awesome.
Well, the good thing is that now you will, since you have to defend the title, so that's pretty cool.
It was a very intense match. It was like, damn, when is this match gonna end? Like, because they were really at it. Like, I'm just surprised there was no blood on the floor by the end of the match.
Now this one, we all went for Utah, and I think we all kind of went with that mentality that he's like kind of like the guest star or whatever. But yeah, so all of us lost a point. We all went for Utah. So there you go. So now on to the big one, the main event. We got Claudio Castagnoli defending his title against Eddie Kingston, singles match, Ring of Honor world title, everything on the table. And what can I say? The match started out strong because Eddie just got up on his ass, just whooped his ass and everything. Claudio was like, seeing stars, being unable to stand and all that. That was pretty cool. After that, Claudio got more into it. A lot of those Eddie Kingston chops and slaps that Wendy likes to talk about. And, the kind of slaps that would make Dana White happy. And I remember joking whenever Claudio did get Eddie I think he got him into spin, didn't he? For this one? I don't remember if he did or not. But I do remember that every time when Claudio gets someone to spin, I always make the joke that, hope the guy doesn't tap out. But yeah, it was a pretty intense. There were lots of close calls with that one. I really thought they were going to go with Eddie winning. And there were lots of close calls and everything. And I was really surprised that Claudio just fucking socked him out and won that way. I was expecting a more grandiose move, but I guess it's one of his finishers now. It's just socking you out or whatever. And I like the fact, or sort of, I wish they gave Eddie more mic time, because when the event ended, he got the mic. And it's like he was going to say something, but instead of saying it, he kept bitching about like how they give MJF half an hour on the mic and they barely give him 5 minutes. So he didn't really get to say whatever he really wanted to say, and the show just ended there. And I agree, just let him talk a bit, because again, you're in a streaming service, you're not on TV where you have to absolutely end at what, well, I don't know, I guess because they have to building, you know how it is, the whole WrestleCon, they probably have to clear out faster the next show. Maybe that's why. But yeah, that's what they kind of sucked. I kind of wanted to hear what Eddie had to say after that, but he didn't have much time. They kept shushing him and telling him time and all that crap. I wanted to see his reaction, but I do remember that the rest of the Blackpool Chess Club came in to try to attack Eddie Kingston, but then of course, what's his name? Shibata came in to kind of side with Eddie and stuff. And it was kind of like a double thing, sort of. It's kind of weird, but it was kind of like, you know, like Claudio raises his belt to kind of show off that, ha ha, I still got it, you lost. But then Shibata raises his belt in front of Yuta's face, like, ha ha, I got this, I got your belt, yo. So they both kind of had that counter face off with Claudio and Eddie and Shibata and Yuta and everything. But yeah, one thing that surprised me though was that Moxley was there in the beginning to you know, because Claudio came out with Moxley and Utah, and Moxley just vanished. I was really expecting him to, I don't know, come back later or whatever, but he didn't. So that was a bit surprising. But yeah, Claudio's still your champion. And story-wise, I'm very curious, where does Eddie Kingston go now? Especially since he went as far as, you know, quitting AEW to now go to Ring of Honor. Now he has to, I guess, go back to the bottom. I don't know what the story is or who he'll like start beef with next or something. But yeah, I'm kind of curious where his story goes. Unless they start doing a little minor feud thing where it's like, you know, Claudio and Utah matches, like Claudio and Utah versus Eddie and Shibata, something like that maybe. But I don't know. But yeah, it was a pretty good match. It was pretty intense. Like I said, lots of close calls. Really not expecting Claudio to win it. He's been champ long enough, in my opinion. But there you go.
Yeah, there were a good bit of close calls in this match. I honestly expected Eddie to finally win it, you know, because he had actually left AEW, all this other good stuff. You know, perfect little underdog story, and they're just like, no. They just kind of dropped that on him. But with Shibata being there, I'm starting to wonder if maybe, like, considering the fight mentality that Eddie has and also Shibata, if maybe they're going to start their own little combat club, and maybe that's going to be the run of the storyline from here on out. But yeah, there was a lot of close calls in it. It was a fairly decent match. I don't remember if Claudio spun him or not. I can't remember. I don't think he did.
But what now?
If Claudio just, you know, tried to spin him into submission, I don't think he did.
Yeah, I don't think he did. I was trying to remember, but I don't think he did.
Yeah, I wouldn't have tried it either, but
I think he tried, but like, you know, like the position or whatever, but Eddie got out of it before he could. I think.
Yeah, but honestly,
Something like that.
It was a solid match, like you said at the very beginning. Eddie was kind of beating the hell out of him, and then he finally just kind of came to. He's like, "Oh wait, oh yeah, okay. Well, let me go ahead and try to, you know, run back." But otherwise, it was still a pretty good match. To me, it wasn't a match of the night. It wasn't like the main event that I would have wanted it to be, but otherwise, it was an okay match.
It was fine. Honestly, I thought, weirdly enough, I thought the Briscoes Joe match felt more like a main event than this one. Maybe it's just me. I was also, I have an idea of where they're going because of the fact that Danielson has said repeatedly on occasion his dream match he always has wanted is, he said two things. One, he's always wanted to wrestle in New Japan. And we know that this is his final run in wrestling. He's already said that. And his dream opponent has always been Katsuyori Shibata. So more than likely, he's going to fight Shibata for the pure title. I mean, you hear him like on AEW, now they're all villains. He keeps talking about unprofessionalism.
Oh, yeah, it started that shit now. Amateurs.
There's not many people more professional than Shibata. So I think this is leading into a feud, an actual feud between New Japan and AEW, but specifically Shibata and his handpicked crew versus the Blackpool Combat Club. That makes the most sense to me. Like, so it'll be like Claudio defending the Ring of Honor title against, I don't know, maybe Tanahashi. He's friends with Shibata. And then Yuta versus Clark Connors or versus, him versus Ren Narita would be fucking badass. Because Ren Narita is hand trained by Shibata. So he's like, Ren Narita is like a younger Shibata. Like they keep calling him the son of the dragon. But he's really, really good. And then more than likely it'll be Danielson versus
Shibata himself, right?
Versus Shibata. And then maybe, who knows? I mean, Kingston is fighting in New Japan Strong sometimes. Maybe they could have Kingston versus Moxley at Forbidden Door. I mean, who knows him better than him?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Kingston better not lose. If they set that matchup, I'll be pissed.
Me too. I don't even like Kingston, but I'm like, as much as I don't like Kingston, I don't like Moxley even more.
I like Kingston better than Moxley.
As far as the match, maybe because I was so excited and happy to see Shibata win and see him beat the shit out of Yuta and win the pure title as a champion again. And, you know, plus there were other matches on the card that were so good. It felt like the main event was just kind of underwhelming for the build up to it. It didn't feel, I mean, I had a feeling Claudio was going to win because of the fact that the thing of it is I know people like Kingston. I get it. But the company's called Ring of Honor. And Kingston may be a tough guy, but he has zero respect for anyone. It's exactly what Claudio said in the interview is true. Kingston spent his entire career being a jackass and an asshole. So for him to be the title holder of Ring of Honor would be a terrible decision. And I know his idols like Low Key and Homicide. First of all, Low Key's also a prick, but Low Key became a prick over time. Homicide, same thing. But Kingston is always been an asshole. If you look into the deep dive of Kingston, everything Claudio said is true. Kingston has had more opportunities handed to him than almost any other wrestler, and wrestlers that would kill to get the opportunities he's had. He's had, over the years, he's been offered, and like the heyday of WWE, he was offered a contract. He was offered a contract with them. He was offered a contract with TNA. He was offered a contract with actually was offered a contract with TNA like 6 times. He was offered a contract with DDT, offered a contract with Ring of Honor years ago. And it was just, it's so funny because it's like he squandered all of them because he ended up being an asshole and he ended up getting into drugs. And it literally, he owes nothing else but himself. And it's so funny that now he's in his like almost 50s and now he's like, now's my time to shine. I'm like, no, bitch, you're done. It's like that old man who still works It's that old man who still works at the drive-thru and going like, "I can steal your shirt." It's like, no.
Like Ric Flair. Oh,
Yeah,
wait,
like
I got
Ric Flair.
like 5 wives I got to pay alimony to. So, yeah.
Yeah, except his alimonies are more due to the fact that he's an asshole than him being a terrible husband. But honestly, like I said, I'm just kind of like thinking about like it was kind of an underwhelming way to end the night. Like I think the Yuka Sakazaki versus Athena match was a better match. I thought, that was a better match. I thought the Shibata match was a better match. Hell, I even thought the Vikingo Commander match was way better than this. It was just it just felt like it wasn't bad, but it wasn't main event worthy. You know? Maybe it was something with their style, or maybe it was just, I don't know. It just kind of felt flat to me. Maybe I'm in the minority here, but that's just my opinion.
I kind of feel that the Samoa Joe versus Briscoe would have been a better main event. And even if Samoa won, just seeing Briscoe hugging the family and stuff and Samoa shaking his hand, that still would have like sent people home happy. You know what I mean?
That's one way of putting it. Now thinking about it, because, I never really think about like, well, I guess I have at some points, but for this pay-per-view, I didn't really think much of it until you guys kind of brought it up, and it just had me thinking back on it. The other matches we probably should have been the main event. And yeah, I have to agree. The Samoa Joe versus Mark Briscoe probably would have been a better event because of how it ended. This event just ended with Eddie Kingston saying, well, F you, F you, F you. MJF gets to talk. I want to talk. Why can't I talk? And you know what? F you, because I'm about to get cut off anyway. I mean, seriously, like, what was the point? It was funny.
He wasted more time bitching about how he couldn't talk, that he didn't get to say what he actually wanted to say.
Yeah, I only got like 5 minutes to talk. So I'm going to sit here for the remaining 5 minutes and tell you that I can't talk in many different ways. But
actually, what would have been funnier is if the camera would have just faded off and it would just cut the whole show off.
He would have been so shoot pissed over that.
Oh my God, yes. No, the whole thing with Claudio and Eddie Kingston here. So, like I said, I will be from now on. I will be jokingly saying, "I will slap you like Eddie Kingston." That is my new phrase. If you say something silly, that your mark is on the receiving end of it. Not literally, of course, but figuratively, when he says something silly, like, "Ooh, that match was all right." I mean, look at Athena there. I mean, those nice assets, Oh, I'm going to have to Eddie Kingston slap you. Okay, no, not for real. But anyway.
Yeah, let's not make Dana White too happy now.
Anyway, going back to... you do need to get Eddie Kingston slap now. But anyway, going back to the match. Like I said earlier, when I made my predictions originally, I was saying if Yuta wins, Claudio loses. If Yuta loses, Claudio wins. That was my mindset. I just couldn't figure out who, but we assumed that Yuta would lose because of Shibata, and now we have, and that Claudio would win because Yuta would lose. That type of thing. I mean, the other way around.
You wouldn't have two members of the Blackpool cheerleader squad lose in the same pay-per-view. Like, one would have to at least win one.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, the other way around. Yeah. So, yeah, that's what I was expecting. It just was reversed. That's all. Yeah. So, yeah. But the match itself was all right. I mean, I like how Eddie got aggressive with Claudio. And now that I'm thinking about it, him actually winning would not have made sense. I wasn't even thinking about it from that point of view. Because in my mind, it's Ring of Honor, but my brain still thinking AEW, honestly. But Eddie Kingston winning when he's not an honorable person to begin with wouldn't make sense. But it would be funny if he won and then it'd be like he's tainting the title and you have everyone trying to get it back from him. I think that could have been a story too if Eddie would have won.
Yeah, because I'm assuming throughout Ring of Honor's history, there have to have been heels and assholes that won the title, right? Couldn't always have been a honorable person, right?
Yeah, there have been assholes who have won it. I mean, like I said, Homicide, Low Key, Matt Taven. Matt Taven was an amazing heel. I mean, he was such a good heel as the champion. RoH was a great champion. He was a villain.
I like RoH.
I love RoH. RoH is so cool.
I like his body too.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I'm sure Jack and Wendy love RoH, but for different reasons.
True.
Sorry.
Any thoughts there, Johnny?
Yeah, Johnny, any thoughts? Yeah. Like I said, Claudio, well.
We mop the floor.
Okay, so about this match, just like what everybody else have said, I don't really see this match as the big match like to watch on the pay-per-view. This could have just been like a regularly aired match on the Ring of Honor programming. Like I don't think this had to really go all the way to pay-per-view. I will have to say though that even though Claudio did win the match, I did like the fact that Eddie Kingston still beat the living crap out of Claudio to the point where he couldn't even do the spin because his knee was badly injured. I think that's what happened throughout the match. That's why he couldn't really do the classic spin, which I kind of liked it that it didn't end it that way either because it gets a little too predictable that, oh yeah, Claudio's going to do that spin move again. Like that's what you always see in all his matches. So, it was kind of good that the outcome was a little different. There were times that even though, like what everybody else have said, that Eddie Kingston is just a freaking a-hole. There were moments that I was thinking, damn, I kind of wish he won the match just to see what would happen. Because having such a bad win this match, but because Claudio winning the match also felt like a little too predictable. Like, okay, it's a given, Claudio's gonna win the match. So it would have been interesting if the opposite happened, if Eddie Kingston had won the match. That would have been a very interesting outcome. Because like, oh shit, what are we gonna do with him now? But overall, it was still a good match. I don't know. It's just kind of like, I felt like even the Wheeler Utah match was better than this one. At least the Wheeler Utah match that kept me awake. I was like, holy shit, because I was like watching like how much more violent is this match gonna get. But this match, it was just kind of a little bit of a lackluster, in my opinion. I think even the Wheeler Utah match could have been a good main event match at this point.
Right. That's what you see what I meant when I'm talking about it. It felt just like kind of, it wasn't bad, but it didn't feel like it felt more like a main event of a show than it did like a main event of a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
All right.
This could have been a buy-in match.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, not that bad. Come on.
Yes.
Actually, thinking about it, like you said, this match with Eddie and Claudio should have been like should have been the main event for like an episode of Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways, amigos, my God, Johnny's brutal. Like, geez. I think
that's why
going straight for the jugular there.
I know. What the? Okay, so that one we all lost too because we all went for Eddie Kingston, so no one got a point for that one. And just real quick before we go into overall thoughts, William ended up winning because all of us had 4 points each. William got the 5th point, so he's the winner. And
only because I wasn't there. That's the only reason.
I don't know, man. You're always who knows? You would have been the contrarian voting for the opposite winner, so you probably would have won. Who knows?
Depends on the match. You know?
So since William won the thing here, that means that we're all gonna agree to chip in and pay to get his leg put back into place.
Yeah, you know what? I need to be a real again. I want him to get a few more years in the ring. So yes, we got to get that leg fixed. We got to turn it. We got to turn it back in the right direction.
Virgo
Yeah,
fun.
'cause, dude. I mean, we
Give a
love
new-
we love the Ninja Panda Liger Bomb, man. We gotta see him do that a couple more times before he hangs it up.
Given new meaning to the term heel turn.
Mm. So
Honestly, legitimately, it would be great. Now, I know this is random. If Dante Martin literally became a heel, like a villain after all this, and it'd be like, it took a heel turn to turn me heel. I'm like,
Oh gosh.
That would
That's
be
a big McMahon
hilarious.
laugh.
I'm just like, man, that would be brilliant on
That would be
that would be
funny.
brilliant writing.
anyways, yeah, I mean, pay-per-view, I mean, I still enjoyed it. I still had fun.
Yeah.
I didn't really have too many things to, I mean, even though the final match didn't feel pay-per-view quality, like, you know, like the main event or whatever, it was still a fun match. I was still at the edge of my seat because I really thought Eddie was going to win. And it had a lot of like close call, fake outs and stuff. I don't know. I kind of feel sometimes that when they do like the, you know, fake outs and stuff, isn't that kind of, you probably know this, Jack, but isn't that kind of a way for the people, you know, the producers or whatever, to kind of test the waters to see if people really want so-and-so to win? Kind of like, okay, so this person isn't booked to win this match, but we'll do a couple of fake outs. We'll see how the audience responds. And if the audience is really like going into it, losing their shit, you know, that the person almost won, maybe we'll build them up in the next match or two or something like that.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, it's kind of like when it comes to those sort of matches, it's more of like they're judging based off of, with Ring of Honor, it's a little different than AEW. AEW, they basically have their own foundational, this is going to happen or this is going to happen, period. Kind of like how WWE is. With Ring of Honor, it's more of like how the crowd is kind of like feeling it. So like obviously with the Mark Briscoe Joe thing, that's not the end of that. Claudio and Kingston, there's more crowd interaction, so I believe that there's going to be more built around that, not necessarily giving him another title shot right away, but something. And then it really depends. I mean, really, I think that, yeah, I think in some parts, like the success rate is more based on like what specific matches get more attention than how much it necessarily gets a draw. So I think like with, well, they even said, like Ian Riccaboni even said, like, it was funny. Ian Riccaboni said, this is the biggest house Ring of Honor has drawn as far as a pay-per-view as far as like, you know, seating. And I also, and to that, I also say, well, yeah, because you never do fucking shows on the West Coast anymore. Used to do show. I always tell people, do shit on the West Coast. If you did Ring of Honor and AEW shows, you sell out every time, but you don't. Like, it's so weird. But I think it's also, like I said, to be honest with you, I think right now, I mean, the fact that that's another thing we never mentioned is that this pay-per-view introduced all new belts. Every belt was brand new. They redesigned every belt. So I think that is part of the grander scheme of, yeah, the last pay-per-view was like, you know, kind of like, it was kind of like the unresolved closing of the chapter from the previous era. And then this is literally feeling like this is a brand new era. We have a new idea of what we're going to do. We're still kind of testing the waters, which I wouldn't normally care about. But the problem is like, dude, Tony, you've ran an entire wrestling organization for 4 years. You should probably get an idea of what you're expecting now. I mean, I think what he should do is make Ring of Honor everything that is the opposite of AEW in parts. So what I mean is the stuff that works for AEW, like really works for AEW, keep that stuff with Ring of Honor. But everything else, like all the gimmicky throwing pasta at the wall, I don't ever want to see any more bullshit like the AEW, the MJF Day bullshit. That was so.
The dancing,
It's-
the Sinatra dancing.
It went on for like half an hour. I'm like, God damn it.
I was thinking that they really had nothing to fill the card with, and that's why they went along with that. I mean,
Right.
I thought it was funny, but I was still surprised at the same time.
I wasn't-
He was a good singer though.
I don't mind the stupid shit, but I do mind the stupid shit when it drags hard ass, and it keeps dragging hard ass.
I was
And
like,
I'm
I
just
didn't know I signed up for a concert. Hey, free concert! I didn't know. I didn't know that was part of the deal, Tony.
I'm like, I'm cool with it, with the whole MJF celebrating thing and all that stuff, but
It goes with the character.
it was so long. It was so unnecessarily long. You could have done the same thing with him, singing with the band and one person attacked him. It would have been the exact same effect.
I was waiting for it too.
Yeah, and everyone was. It's all like, okay, he's got a band and they're dancing, he's singing, okay, and then he goes in the ring, and then the mayor's there, and then he accepts the key, and he's still talking, and then he comes back to the ramp, and he's still singing, and he's talking. Oh, now the guy hits him. I'm like, God damn.
I was like, I bet you're Jungle Boy. I bet you're Jungle Boy. Oh wow, it is. It's
What
Jungle.
a shock. But
Yeah,
my
it
thing
was-
of it is like, I just keep thinking like, Ring of Honor needs to be an alternative. AEW is meant to be an alternative to WWE, right? So
That whole session was a
AEW,
WWE session.
right? So AEW is an alternative to WWE. It says that, wink, wink. It's like it's the RC Cola to WWE's Coca-Cola. So you need
words.
but you need to turn Ring of Honor as the alternative to both AEW and WWE. You need to make Ring of Honor essentially the third party of the three. Just like how in the heyday of wrestling in the Monday Night Wars, we had WWF, WCW, and ECW. You need to make Ring of Honor the new ECW. And if you do that properly, Tony Khan will own the second and third biggest wrestling organizations on the in the US, possibly on the planet if he plays his cards right. Like, look at what Ring of Honor did properly. Ring of Honor itself, the show before Khan bought it, was a great show. It was a fantastic show. The biggest issue is it had no budget, and it was on a network no one had. Well, Khan is like, okay, we'll make everyone buy Honor Club. Cool. Okay, cut out the middleman. Awesome. But then you do that, that's already set aside. Now what? You got to see it from the long run. It's just like, this is the problem with Tony Khan, and the issue I have with him is that he comes up with these concepts and then he doesn't know what to do from there. He's like Plankton in SpongeBob when he goes, "What's your evil plan, Plankton?" "I don't know. I didn't think I'd get this far." That's Tony Khan in a nutshell. I want to give MJF the title. What's your evil plan, MJF? Da, 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 da. I'm like, you evil monster. What are you going to do next? Damn it. This is your threat?
He didn't have a cake again.
I'm like, this is your threat? Really?
Yeah.
Like, that
Anyway.
segment was just terrible. It dragged on forever, and it almost put me to sleep. It was like I was watching WrestleMania.
Hey, Mania had, I will say, this year's Mania had some good stuff. Some.
Yeah.
Not a lot.
One thing I was gonna say though is from what little I remember Ring of Honor before it went down, they don't do like skits and things, do they? They just go right to the wrestling, right? Like I know they have
The only time they would ever do skits is like backstage.
yeah, little backstage plans or gang
Or
ups
or if it was like a special holiday episode. Like I remember during the pandemic, and before that, they used to have this thing called they called it the Secret Santa tag match. And they would have a 10 tag match, a 10-person tag match, or they'd have like a Secret Santa match where it'd have 2 wrestlers, and then they would each open a present, and then like that would determine the stipulation of the match. So like one guy could open up a present, and it'll have a card that says table, and then another guy would have a card that says like count out, or it would have a card that said like false count anywhere. So it's like, okay, so it's a false count anywhere table match. They do it like that, or they
That's
like,
creative.
like, or stupid things like that. Or remember, like I said, the 10-man Secret Santa match where they would have like, I remember the last one they had was, I think it was Josh Woods versus Mark Briscoe, and they had this room full of presents, and you just pick these random presents. Like, ooh, I like the shiny one, and you open it, and then in there would be a card of a wrestler's name, and that would be who would tag with you, and it would be the most random fucking assortment of people. Yeah. Like I remember, like he had Dalton Castle and PCO, and like a Leo Ruff who weighs like 90 pounds, and then you had like it said boy number 2, and it was just like the most random assort. I'm like, if you do that for rare exceptions, sure, but you can't do full segments like that. That's crazy.
Yeah, like I said, I don't remember that because I know Cody and Brandy had business bear with them, but they didn't do entire segments devoted to them. It was just there in the background acting silly. It's just, I don't know. I don't remember things like that. So I haven't seen too many, but that was the thing. It was so weird. I had a weird period because the thing is, like, AEW didn't exist, and it was like years before it would exist. And I don't know it was so weird because when I just got fed up with WWE and was like, okay, you know what? That's it. Fuck it. This is stupid now and everything. I guess I just went to the indies. I didn't follow anyone like faithfully, I should say. It was mostly Ring of Honor and whatever indie shows would catch my attention, and Rise Women's Wrestling and stuff like that. But it was weird. I guess I was following them until eventually AEW existed. But it is kind of weird. Like many people would probably assume that whenever I stopped watching WWE, because of AEW. But no, I did like a good 2-3 years before.
Whatever, because it was getting stale.
Huh?
Yeah, because it was getting stale.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. I actually stopped watching and haven't watched since. And every time, I would always tell myself, okay, you know what? I'm going to come back at least for either Royal Rumble or Survivor Series because I love those 2 pay-per-views. But then when they come up and I start hearing about the card, the people, I'm kind of like, maybe next year? And it just keeps going because it was just dumb.
No, I get it. I mean, I'm kind of afraid. I'm like distanced myself away from WWE.
And it's funny because the people will always say like, "Yep, see you next Monday," for Raw. Where like, nah, nope, I ain't watching.
Not me. No, I mean, like I said, I watched Mania mostly because I'm like, hey, you know what? It's WrestleCon weekend.
Yeah,
I might as well take advantage of it. And I was like, I didn't watch everything. I will tell you right now the best matches of each night. I will flat out tell you the best matches of each night. Best match of night 1, hands down, was Charlotte versus Rhea. Hands down.
I heard Rhea beat her.
And she did. And it was
and I'm happy with that because I always thought whenever Rhea first appeared in the Mae Young Classic, they were already predicting. Well, first of all, they were comparing her to Charlotte. I'm like, fuck you, she's nothing like Charlotte. And second of all, everyone was already kind of salivating at the mouth as like whenever she would actually be in WWE proper, and eventually she'll face Charlotte. So I'm glad that now I'm glad Rhea won over Charlotte. Yeah. But what was the other one?
There was that one, and then match of the night for night 2 was I would say it was the main event, but there was so much shenanigans bullshit that I was like, no. Honestly, it was, with one minor exception, it was Finn versus Edge. The reason why it was the funniest shit ever in hindsight, looking back. Okay, so to set up the match just real quick. So obviously it was, a big feud between Edge and the Demon Finn Balor. And they really, really, really went hard on this whole demon concept. In fact, they were doing a cross promotion with that new horror movie, The Pope's Exorcist. And they had Russell Crowe, and he was reading this poem about, well, the devil within you must be slain. Yeah, whatever. And I'm not joking. Edge came out and it said Brood Edge, but he was coming out to South of Heaven by Slayer, which was fucking badass. And he comes out and he's wearing this skull mask, and he rises from this flame, and he's got these bat wings, and he goes like, so in the song where it's like, when you see the light, you must die, and he went like that, and you see these bat wings, and it looks really cool. And then he gets out of it and he goes into his theme song. And then, Finn comes out, he does his demon entrance, which was cool too. And like I said, and they even brought out the original Hell in a Cell. It wasn't like that red, stupid steel one. It was an actual old school Hell in a Cell. And it was really cool. And they were building it. It was really, really cool. And the fights were really cool. They were hitting each other with kendo sticks, and they were crazy. It was good spots. Like Edge was trying to hit him really hard, and Finn was no selling it because he's the demon. But there was one spot. Edge threw a ladder at Finn. And in the middle of the match, so he threw the ladder at Finn, and you see Finn's head go wham, and then the ref keeps Edge away while the EMTs check, and they say, you hear the commentary go, oh, we might have to call this match. Oh no, I'm like, wait a minute, you just spent 5 fucking minutes talking about how this is hell. They're gonna murder each other. There's slaughter. And then they go, oh, he's got a boo-boo. I'm like, wait a minute, you bitches. You fucking bitches. I was so pissed. Yeah, but he wasn't bleeding. He wasn't even bleeding.
Hold up. And you know what? At least Finn Balor's legs were attached correctly, instead of a badly put together action figure.
And I'm just like, but it was so funny. I was just like dying because I'm like, oh my God. Oh, poor baby, his boo-boo.
No, God. They would have heart attacks if they saw any of the Moxley bleeding matches or whatever. Jeez.
Yeah, it was so funny because I was just thinking about how he just like, oh, they gotta prevent the poor children. I'm like, fuck off. I was just like, fuck off, man. Yep. It was crazy. But like I said, but that was, other than that one spot, it was probably the best match of the night. But like I said, anyway, I'm rambling at this point.
Yeah. But well, that's the thing though. Like, I would say, if WWE was in town and it was dirt cheap, because it's our town's kind of small, it would be dirt cheap. And someone, yo, Wendy's there, or someone, yo, let's go. I mean, I'd go. I'm not like super like, no, I'm not gonna go because of WWE, and I will not be lining Vince's pockets today. I'm not gonna be doing that bullshit. But I mean, I'll still go and see it. You'll have to point out to me all the people I've missed throughout the years I have abandoned it. But I don't know. I just lost interest. But if it's in town, I won't say no to that. Or, if I'm at someone else's house and they got the thing playing, or someone invite, yo, Mark, WrestleMania's on. It'll be awesome. We'll have wings and chips and beers or whatever. Yeah.
Wings and chips. All right. You had me at wings.
Yep, there you go. You know what I mean? But like in general, like I just stopped caring. But I do remember it was so weird. I do remember that I just watched random indie shows and Ring of Honor and stuff and I honestly during that period, that's how I first discovered SCU and the Young Bucks, Priscilla Kelly, Elena Black / Cora Jade, Tessa Blanchard. That's how I discovered all of them, by watching more of the indie matches, because they were around and everything. And all that. And the what do you call it? The intergender matches too and stuff. I remember it was funny because there was a match. I forgot the other guys involved, but it was like Cole Cabana and some other dude. And I forgot because it felt like it was a match that became an intergender match. So it wasn't like planned. I guess, this guy's talking shit, and I want to say Mia Yim was one of them. And they started, it was Mia Yim and some other girl against Cole Cabana and the other guy. And the other guy was like a douche, So it was kind of funny because Cole Cabana was really playing like the good guy that really didn't want to be in this match, really didn't want to hit a girl. And he actually he would just push them off or whatever, but he wouldn't actually hit them. There's times they said to go for a close, he would just full stop before hitting her and stuff. So there's one time they actually went to the girl, and the girl started crying and whatever, and he'd be like, but then of course the girl would take that to get a cheap shot, But whenever he tags the heel, the other guy, whoever he was, in, yeah, he was body slamming bitches around, and everybody was like, woo, because he was smacking them in the face and grab and that kind of stuff. Those are the kind of crazy matches I was watching in the indies and everything. And yeah. But anyways, I digress. Anyways, guys, I think it was a good match here. Good episode. We all kind of went our way.
Wait, I don't think Rick. I don't think Will or did Rick you go?
Yeah.
Oh, you did.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's make sure. Sorry.
Last match.
Yeah, I think you already said the same kind of.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
What were your overall thoughts on the pay-per-view, Johnny? Since you had to kind of struggle to see it.
Despite the struggle with the app, which I had to reinstall it now, hopefully it works better. But I already watched the whole pay-per-view anyways. But anyways, I think it was still good. It was so entertaining. Some of the matches could have been better, or they could have put them in a different order. So I don't know. Any other good match could have been a better main event match than the actual match we've had, because I don't think the story was really that appealing to begin with. In terms of Claudio versus Eddie Kingston, it's whatever. But it was still good, entertaining pay-per-view overall. That's what I thought about it. It's so good.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we all pretty much said our things, and we all got stuff to do. It's almost like, as of recording in our general area, for some of us anyways, it's almost 2:00 in the morning. So I think we can wrap it up for here, guys. We went through lots of the matches and things. So yeah, this wraps up for the Diving Cutter Wrestling Podcast. We'll be back whenever there's another AEW or Ring of Honor pay-per-view. And they announced that they're going to be at London Stadium for All In August, which of course the big thing here is, will they be able to fill up the stadium? We'll see how that goes and all that. So you know how it is. We may have a hiatus here and there because AEW and Ring of Honor space out the pay-per-views, but we will be back. There's also Forbidden Door 2, so we'll see when that hits and all that. So there you go. So on behalf of everyone here, this has been the Diving Cutter Wrestling Podcast, the America's #1 cure for insomnia. If you can't sleep, if you have trouble, if you toss and turn, listening to us talk, at least me or Jack, will knock you right out, So this is Mark Rodriguez here.
Ninja Panda 1980 signing off.
This is Jack from Jack Knives Reviews.
Hey, this is Juby-chan or Ninja Jupi, whichever you prefer. Te wa mata, minasan. And I turn it over to the one, the only, the man with a plan, the coolest one in here, Johnny Rodriguez.
Yes. See you next time, guys.
I really think that somewhere, wherever they are, whenever Johnny said that match should have been on the pre-show, Claudio and Eddie were both, oh, fuck, damn. The fuck happened? They just felt that in their very soul, But anyway, see you later, guys.